The wreckage of the colony ship Meridian's Hope lay scattered across the obsidian cliffs of Dracor Prime like broken toys discarded by an angry child. Emergency pods had ejected in the final moments before the vessel tore itself apart in the planet's atmosphere, but only one had survived the violent descent intact. Inside, wrapped in thermal blankets and crying with the fury of the living, was Arden Vale, 3 months old, human, and utterly alone. Queen Dravira heard the wailing first. The dragon matriarch stood nearly 40 meters tall, her scales gleaming like molten copper in the twin suns' light. She had ruled the volcanic peaks of Dracor Prime for 3 centuries, and in all that time she had never encountered a sound quite like this. It was not the screech of a wounded prey animal, nor the distress call of any creature native to her world. It was something else entirely, raw, insistent, and impossibly small. Her massive wings beat once, carrying her enormous bulk toward the source of the noise with surprising grace. The other dragons of her brood followed, curious and cautious. When Queen Dravira landed beside the crumpled escape pod, her talons, each the size of a human torso, left deep furrows in the volcanic stone. The pod's hatch had been blown open by the impact. Inside, amid the twisted metal and blinking emergency lights, the tiny creature screamed its defiance at the universe. Queen Dravira lowered her great head, nostrils flaring as she examined the strange hatchling. No scales, no wings, no protective shell. The creature was pink and soft, covered in thin fabric that would offer no protection against Dracor Prime's harsh environment. By all rights, it should have perished already, yet it lived. And it cried. Something ancient stirred in the Dragon Queen's chest, an instinct older than language, deeper than thought. This was a hatchling, vulnerable, alone, in need. With infinite care, Queen Dravira extended one massive claw and gently, so gently, lifted the bundle from the wreckage. The baby's cries stuttered into silence as it looked up at the enormous reptilian face looming above. For a moment, dragon and human simply stared at each other. Then Arden Vale gurgled, reached out with tiny fingers and grabbed the tip of the dragon's snout. Queen Dravira made her decision. The other dragons protested, of course. This creature was not their kind. It had no place in their nest. But Queen Dravira was law upon these peaks, and when she carried the small bundle back to her volcanic lair and placed it carefully among her own clutch of eggs, none dared challenge her. The seasons turned on Dracor Prime, measured in eruptions and asteroid storms. Arden Vale grew, though not as the dragons expected. While their eggs hatched into fierce young drakes with armored hides and wings ready to test the thermals, the human hatchling remained stubbornly soft and scaleless. The younger dragons called him the hatchling without scales, but never with cruelty. He was brood brother, after all. Queen Dravira watched over Arden with the same fierce devotion she showed her biological offspring. When the volcanic vents grew too hot, she would shelter him beneath her wing. When the ash storms rolled across the peaks, she would curl her body around him, creating a fortress of living armor. She learned to regulate her internal temperature, so that her presence would warm him without cooking him alive. The other dragons adapted too. They brought him not the charred meat they preferred, but fruit salvaged from the lowland forests. They learned to modulate their roars when near him, lest they damage his fragile hearing. They taught him their language, not through words but through rumbles and gestures, heat and posture. As Arden grew from infant to toddler to child, he became something unprecedented in the galaxy, a human raised by dragons. He learned to read the air currents, to predict eruptions by the taste of sulfur on the wind. He climbed the sheer volcanic walls with the fearlessness of a creature born to fly, though his feet remained earthbound. He could not breathe fire, but he learned to survive in its presence. The dragons in turn learned from him. His small hands could reach into crevices too narrow for their claws, extracting precious minerals and injured young drakes trapped in rockfalls. His problem-solving mind worked differently than theirs, less instinct, more innovation. When a rival dragon clan threatened their territory, it was young Arden, barely 6 years old, who suggested using the reflective volcanic glass to create confusion and misdirection. Queen Dravira listened to his plan, then implemented it. The rival clan withdrew, baffled and defeated. By the time Arden reached 10 years, he had become a legend among the dragon clans. The soft scale, they called him, the queen's strange son. Some said Queen Dravira had made a mistake, that the human would grow to betray them. But those voices fell silent when they saw the boy standing fearlessly before a magma flow, directing younger dragons to safety with hand signals and dragon speech. One day a ship appeared in Dracor Prime's sky, a human vessel, searching for survivors from the Meridian's Hope. They had not expected to find any after so many years. They certainly had not expected to find a human child living wild among apex predators. The rescue team approached with tranquilizer weapons and scanning equipment. They found Arden perched on Queen Dravira's back, the dragon's posture radiating unmistakable threat. "We're here to save you," the team leader called out through a translator. "You're human. You belong with your own kind." Arden looked down at them with eyes that had seen eruptions and asteroid storms, that had watched dragons dance in volcanic thermals and listened to ancient songs rumbled from continent-sized lungs. He was human, yes, but he was also dragon brother, raised in fire and stone. "I am with my own kind," he replied in flawless standard, his voice carrying the harmonic undertones of dragon speech. "This is my mother. This is my family." Queen Dravira's growl of approval shook the mountainside. The rescue team looked at each other, uncertain. Their protocols had no provision for this scenario. But as they watched the colossal dragon gently nuzzle the small human on her back, and saw the absolute trust between them, they understood something profound. Family was not defined by DNA. They left Dracor Prime that day without Arden Vale. His story spread across human space, the child raised by dragons, the bridge between species, proof that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or their weapons, but their impossible ability to find kinship in the most unlikely places. And on the volcanic peaks of Dracor Prime, Queen Dravira taught her strange, soft, scaleless hatchling how to roar.